Welcome to Conversations on Creativity. I'm Shinan Barclay. On this show, I'll be talking to farmers and fishermen, artists and authors, community folks who cultivate their creativity. Please join me on the next program of Conversations on Creativity. This is Conversations on Creativity. I'm Shinan Barclay, and my guest today is Susan Vadney, a sound healer. Healing through sound, I mean, that's an extraordinary and creative way of healing. What actually is sound healing?
Sound healing is using different instruments. I use these tuning forks, but I've also studied using singing bowls, tingshes, gongs, didgeridoos, Native American drum, all types of sound healing.
And what is it about the sound that is healing for a person?
Each resonation affects the body differently. Like when I took Qigong classes with an instructor, we made different vowel sounds. Just like that, this acutonic system uses different sounds to create healing in the body. So one of my tuning forks is grounding and balancing. One of them helps break up scar tissues and adhesions, and it's a sedative, meditative frequency. So sounds have a healing physical effect on the body by releasing nitrous oxide from the cells, which cause a healing physically on the body. Also, emotionally in the brain, it can be used for, neurotransmitters, endorphins, releasing different chemicals in the brain that help you feel calm or relaxed, help with dealing with depression, anxiety, or trauma. So it works on a physical, emotional, and spiritual aspects. Meditation uses sound, and the drumming in like Native American drumming can put you in a trance-like state, and that's the spiritual, enlightenment some people look for. So sound affects us in many different ways.
That's amazing. I'm thinking of the ocean now and the sound of waves, and everybody says, well, if you're feeling bad, go to the beach.
Yes, I love just a brook or a stream that is totally connecting back to nature and our universe and the natural rhythms. And same with watching the waves come in. It's a very soothing, relaxing sound. I love it here where we can actually hear the real ocean and be next to the real ocean, where it's also producing, ionic frequencies.
How did you get started?
Ionic charges.
How did you get started as a sound healer?
Well, I've studied a lot of different modalities and energy work, advanced energy work. And in my work, I notice people making different sounds. Like some people will groan when an area hurts, or sometimes that's just a way of healing, is different sounds as people are being worked on. Either whether it's a release or an acknowledgement of a pain. And in advanced energy work, we were taught to work with that. Investigate the body. Why are we making that sound? Why is that area of the body hurting? More beyond than just the fact I tore my rotator cuff. Like, what messages do the body have for us? And when I started working with people that were very tight and stiff, up in an athletic area of Vail, people would come into the spa, and sometimes all my expert techniques, whether it was neuromuscular therapy or myofascial release, didn't work. It was very solid. I would ask the person to make a sound that felt like, if this area could talk, if it had a sound, what sound would it make? And they would start making a sound, and then I would use my voice to match theirs. And when our voices harmonized, the area released and relaxed. So I would be holding it like I would in neuromuscular therapy, but then we would make a frequency together and harmonize, and that just fascinated me. And I wanted to know more about Oriental medicine and more about sound healing, and I got a postcard because I was nationally certified for acutonic systems, and you had to be approved to take the classes because they didn't just accept anybody, and it was an advanced class and you had to meet certain criteria. So I applied and was accepted for acutonic sound healing to further my studies. Yeah.
As you're saying that, I'm imagining a mother and a baby, in her arms, and the baby making a sound, or the mother, humming or doing a lullaby, and then that kind of healing goes into the body. So, and as you're talking about Native American tradition and drumming, I just read a wonderful article that said, people used to sing and dance as a way of lifting, as a way of dealing with the trauma or dealing with a hardship or a sickness. Let's go out and sing and dance.
Right, right. I was growing up as a kid, I had a lot of nieces and nephews. And I spent a lot of time with the babies, taking care of them, feeding them, changing diapers, and especially nap time or bedtime, holding them and rocking them. One thing I find I enjoy doing is humming when I hug, because I feel it just adds a more loving vibration to just, something so simple as a hug. Yeah, it's comforting, it's soothing.
Over COVID, because I live alone, there weren't many people to hug, so I started hugging trees.
Oh.
But I didn't think of humming to them or humming as I'm hugging the tree, and I think...
Oh, yeah. I sing to my plants in my growing dome when I go in and check on my plants in my geodesic dome. There's certain songs I would sing to them. Yep, I enjoyed doing that. Yep.
So may I take one of these and just give it a tap?
Yes, I did 2 theses on using sound with plants. That's how I got my acutonic certification. And you can start out with these 2 forks. These are the ohms. So they are actually used on a scale.
And they're used on plants?
I have used them on the soil and around plants to see how they affect the growth and just the results that it would have on a plant.
What were the results?
Well, I did 2 different things. I did plants in a box, in my office, and I had one that I didn't treat with sound and one that I did treat with sound. And the ones with sound grew better, grew faster, and I had a cat that was drawn to laying on them, but she never laid on the ones that weren't treated with sound. She would only lay on the ones that were treated with sound, and they would come back very quickly, very well. And not many of the plants died off from them, the cat going in, because they were already stronger, healthier plants than the other set. In the dome, I noticed that I used a lot of different frequencies, and the immediate effect on plants had different results than the plants on the other side of the dome that got the
like the echo.
vibration, at a longer distance. So the ones directly treated have more of a variable growth rate, less disease, less pests, abundant harvest, things like that. And the ones further away from the sound grew more uniformly better. So it was just a fascinating experiment.
I'm hearing the words frequency and vibration. What are those?
The sound wavelength. They're about the same thing, but either one varies. Different sound waves or different frequencies, or
just like a frequency
different
on a radio, you would.
Yeah, different vibration.
Did you want to make a sound with those?
Oh, I could. Yep, this was ohm. This is a grounding, balancing vibration. Oh. And that's a very basic treatment. You can start out with just the Om with someone. And I use these 3 different ways. Let's see. Where's the second one? You always use them in a combination too. And I'll start out normally on the foot on a grounding, bouncing acupuncture point. So I can use these on acupuncture points. Or use them on the chakras. Or in the energy field. So this is a low frequency, so this is a low vibration of Om. It works deeper in the body and on older things that...
Like older people?
Well, not really older people, but either an older trauma or an older injury, things that have been around for a long time or deeper in the body help. The mid-frequency is for what's going on right now. And in the present time. And then the high frequency are here. And these look different because they don't have the balls on them. They're just a higher frequency, so they are made different. And these are to work with the energy field. So if you did the chakra, not just physically, but also moving through the energy field. The energy field extends about 4 or 5 feet from the body. We're like a light bulb with an aura.
Oh.
And sometimes it doesn't matter how deeply I go in to heal an issue within somebody because I can't get to it because it's not in the body where it needs to be resolved. It can be outside in the energetic field, something hold emotionally, a trauma or something on one of the ethereal levels. So there's different layers to your energy field. So not just healing the body physically, but emotionally and spiritually, the whole field, not just the physical person.
Oh, goodness.
That affects health.
I have had a problem with a colleague that I know, we call her sour grape. People don't really want to be around her or relate to her. We all do the same job, but it's like she's kind of always off by herself over here. And we're like, stay there. I have talked with her, and she's had some trauma in her past. But it seems like something needs to, what I heard you say is auric field. It's like something around her feels and appears very negative. Whether she is...
Well, that's why I like having the resource of studying acupuncture and the different acupuncture points. Not just, like you said, the chakras, you can work with it that way. But also it gets into much more detail with acupuncture. And it doesn't stick to a strict medical book of here's a physical ailment, this is what's going on with your body physical. We can also look at emotions and different traumas and things that come up, and acupuncture points that help bring resolution to that or some understanding. And the same with the frequencies. This one's grounding and balancing. But these are different planetary frequencies. It's meant to bring us back into touch with the universe and universal rhythms, which we've gotten very far away from in the modern world with computers and things that we can turn on and turn off at
like
will.
Finding our own balance and our own... I think on the internet I've been reading about the body electric, Elaine McCusick, who takes tuning forks, and she says we're like a river, and there's a river of energy around us, and
always flowing.
Yeah. And that's why I asked you here today. I don't have the awareness or knowledge to, ask about them, what they do and how they do it and how you do it. I know
Venus is love and Mercury is communication. And it was a lot of work learning the acutonic system because we learned the mythology of the planets. We learned the physical attributes to the planet, but then a lot of different information, like the sun may not just be the center of our universe and what provides light and heat, but also for us, I would use it on spleen 4. If there's damp conditions in the body where we're having too much moisture, too much mucus, things like that, and I want to dry it up, I would use a sun fork. If it's somebody that's depressed and not feeling good, well, the sun fork is rejuvenating and regenerative and bring the powers of the light. So that's supposed to be bringing joy in. And new moon releases emotions and is opening and balances water in the body. So I could also choose that. Or full moon, which brings things to completion. It's emotionally nurturing. So you wouldn't.
This is taking healing to a much faster level than going to the doctor and getting a prescription.
Yeah, yeah.
And it
very different way.
Sounds like it's healing, at a vaster, taking more into account of who and what we are.
Well, I asked an acupuncturist, I was like, well, why did you do acutonics? Because to me, acupuncture is already, Oriental medicine is also such a broad field, because she does the herbal, she does Japanese-style acupuncture. I find it gentle and very wonderful to receive. And she goes, because this just takes her out of the box of even Oriental medicine and just broadens your horizons on what you can do with healing.
And a lot of it is sound. Or most of it is sound.
Just a sound. We're just atoms vibrating from the basic little
in working with people,
form of life
here and in my private life, I'm always aware of people's voice sound. Some people, it's like they're like, well, how are you today? Oh yeah, I'm doing good. And it doesn't sound good. It sounds like something is out of whack or out of balance. And I find that with myself. It's like, my voice will go, say, okay, Shinan, what's going on? But I didn't relate all that to sound. So I'm feeling very emotional right now because I just had an awareness that when I find myself in a different voice tone that does not sound like myself or does not feel healing, I could actually sound it out. And that idea and awareness that just came to me has brought tears to my eyes as, a possibility of self-healing. Is that something that is in alignment with what you do? And
yeah. Well, these frequencies, that's what it's for. I work on myself with the tuning forks. And as I referenced to earlier, even Qigong and techniques like that help you use sounds and simple, like Qigong is just vowels, simple vowels. But their traditions have carried on for thousands of years. That these are ways to heal and work and balance your body.
Can you make some of those Qigong sounds?
Oof. It has been so long. I did that with my partner, Robert, so many years ago. It's is one of those sounds.
Probably Om.
I think there were 5. Om is very wonderful. Om we use in meditation. And same as we discussed, this fork is the sound of Om. It's the Earth's rotation through a full calendar year, all 4 seasons, which is Om. When you take that frequency, it is Om, or the original sound of creation, and that's a balancing,
Sounds like a lot of it
grounding
has
vehicle.
to do with balance and bringing the body, mind, spirit back into balance.
I couldn't speak to the Qigong more because it's been so long since I worked with it.
Look it up. I've also read that there have been a lot of solar flares and geomagnetic storms recently that could be affecting people and people we work with and ourselves and our bodies.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm wondering, if using sound to balance those kind of energies and input.
One of the things we do get to study with acutonics is also astrology, if you want to go that way. I did take classes on using astrology. So you could look at different things like that. That's the whole point of doing this and getting in touch with our universe. Like if their sun does have, maybe it's not a problem with your phone. Maybe it's not a problem with the phone company. Maybe it's a solar flare. Same thing with people feeling negative. It may not just be your day. It may be a consciousness of more people on the planet than just us or just where we live. But like you said, everything we do to heal ourselves contributes to the healing of the entire planet.
And healing ourselves heals our immediate environment and circle, even has an effect on them.
Mm-hmm.
So it brings everything back to the only person you can change is yourself. So start, if I feel good, and then I go out to work. Generally, work is pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes I have this song, what do you do with a grumpy feeling? What do you do with a grumpy feeling? And it's like, okay, are you going to be your grumpy old lady today? Or,
right.
Is there something I can do? Usually take a walk, have a cup of tea, meditate, get back into balance.
Mm-hmm.
What do you see as like the future for tuning for healing?
It's already grown so much. That's a good question. It just depends on how open people are to it. And the more people that experience it, the more people are open to it. And that's why I love introducing people to it, because you don't know without experiencing it. So I'll offer it, and I'll show people that they get to see and feel the difference. But it takes each individual to want to be interested in it and search it out and see how it can help them.
I know that I've had several, probably 3 at least, treatments from you and your tuning fork, and I go in usually very upset or very out of balance with something in my life, and I come out like floating.
I think that's the only challenge I have, is for me to do a treatment on myself. For instance, like these 2 forks. This is a lot harder for me to do than it is for somebody else to do. And
They're harder for you.
I don't know very many people that do this. For me to have the privilege to be worked on by somebody else. And I did have people that worked on me in Colorado. I haven't found another person here with the same skill set. And that is too bad, because I think it would be a wonderful thing to share with someone else.
Yeah. Well, in order to spread this information, do you do, like talks at the library or demonstrations?
In the past, I've done meditations. Up in Eagle County, there was a woman and a man that had a home where they would have monthly meditations, and sometimes it would be me with my gongs and singing bowls, or another presenter. I also had a location where I would advertise by flyer on Facebook and with the different yoga studios in the community on when I was having meditations. Here I started it a little bit, but COVID has made a huge impact on that, not being able to gather as groups. I do offer it in my massage, and I have advertised it with brochures and um, flyers in different locations, and the local shopper. So I've done that in Vail. We advertised, and I have 2 newspaper articles that I did in Vail when I had my own business and when I worked at the Sun and Elp Resort. And the Sun and Elp Resort of Vail was known to have acutonics, and we had more than one practitioner. I started it there, but then a few other people got their certifications and offered it, and it was growing in the community there.
Fabulous. Yeah. I would think that, I mean, just looking at this, it's like, this is odd. This is sort of weird. I'm not sure I want to hear about it, know about it, or do it. But on the other hand, I know that sound and music and neighbors' sounds all have a different effect on me. And that so sound can be healing or agitating. And so there's more to sound healing than, I know about. And I'm curious, and I hope my viewers are as well, to see if this is something that might help me, it might help them, it might help someone in the family. As we get older, like I have hip arthritis, sometimes I have brain fog, and I do have a tuning fork that I bought many years ago in Arizona, Sedona in fact, that I sometimes put on my head, I put it on my heart. I haven't put it on my... Were you doing your pulses?
Here, there's source points for your meridians, and right here is the source point for your lung.
Oh, okay.
Yep, that's the source point for the lung meridian.
That would be a good thing.
A lot of times I find congestion in the lung meridian, especially right about here, the Akashic record, lung 3.
So it sounds like you have a vast area of expertise and study and learning, and you kind of put it all together.
Yes. Yep. I have one client that I used to work with that had 6 back surgeries, and I would do a variety of techniques with him and the acutonics, and he said that was the best thing he ever tried for his condition. He did need a 5th and a 6th back surgery after he moved on and was working with another surgeon, but after 4 back surgeries, the acutonics and other therapeutic techniques was the best thing that he ever did for his back. Offered the most relief out of everything that he tried.
So it released a lot of tension and allowed the healing to happen.
He found more relief. It didn't cure it, but it was the best thing he could use, other than the surgeries that he needed, the additional help that he needed. He really had, after 4 surgeries, a lot of scar tissue and continued problems.
I think a lot of us aren't aware of how much tension or trauma we actually carry. So doing sound healing would be a way of releasing and rebalancing that. And also chanting.
It is.
As I think I just said, as I read in a recent article about singing and dancing, and that's what cultures used to do.
Yeah.
To lift their spirit. So
I say for thousands of years. I love it when I get to use the singing bowls on someone. When I do treatments, I've used the singing bowls either underneath the table or on them, on their physical body or around them. And I love it, and they usually love it. It'll take them to a place of relaxation that is hard to get on your own sometimes.
Yeah, that deep tone of the singing bowl. Well, Susan, thank you for bringing these gifts and these most unusual form of healing, probably ancient,
Well, that's what I've pointed out in like the healing singing bowls. The singing bowls, you know, there are 7 layers of metal, hand pounded by Buddhist monks with the prayers of intention for healing. It's not just a metal brass bowl that was picked out by a machine in some factory. No, it's really 7 different layers of metal, hand pounded with prayers of intention for healing. You know, and that makes a difference, what you put into it and what you get out of it.
Like life.
Mm-hmm.
What we put into life is what we get out of it. So this is Conversations on Creativity. I'm Shinan Barclay. Thank you, Susan.
Thank you, Shinan. It's been wonderful working with you.
Likewise.